This is a continued discussion from the previous episode of Nose to Tail, a podcast where we explore the world of aviation lifecycle solutions, insights, and more. Presented by Jet Midwest.
Do you guys find yourself, I'm curious, do you guys find yourself making your own test equipment and your own rigs so that you can capitalize on that? Was a lot of that done by yourselves? Are you guys designing and building equipment to troubleshoot what those things are?
Yeah, we do a lot of that in-house. A lot of the test equipment that we have are in-house. Some are purchased and then modified, like we've got an Iris 2000, which is an ATE. And so that's off the shelf, but we customize it and write code for it to better diagnose and troubleshoot components. There are some testers that we built completely in-house, like the one for the 485-2730-901s. Those are the display controllers on the 737 NGs, and we get a lot of those. And so it behooved us to design and create our own tester for it. So to answer your question, yes, we do find ourselves building a lot of test equipment in-house. Some we buy off the shelf, but we do a lot of in-house engineering for test equipment and establishing equivalences. That's one of the biggest time-consuming is establishing that equivalence for the FAA between the OEM and what we have in-house.
Do you guys handle many DER repairs?
No, we don't handle a lot of DER repairs.
I was curious. And obviously teams with large engineering backgrounds, sometimes that's where they end up going with some of the repairs that they develop. Do you ever find yourself having a long day in the office and just want to go to the floor and tinker with something?
Absolutely. I do that all the time.
When you go to the floor, what type of project are you looking to get your hands on? Are you looking for the electrical side? You want to go to the mechanical? Where do you want to end up?
I like both. Recently, I was at the office and I got done with my emails, and I walked down to the floor at around like 10 or so, and I pulled one of the as removed actuators that we have in inventory. And I was taking a look at the clutch. I pulled apart the clutch and saw the kind of plates that were inside. Just a general knowledge of how that clutch does the work of letting go of the shaft when there's an excess of torque on that motor. And so that's one of I believe I did that about a month ago. And then before that, there was a Collins part. It's a 622-8590. It's a display controller on cargo plane. And so it's got an encoder in it, like the little dials that controls the display. And so sometimes those encoders go bad. So we had an Azimuth part with a bad encoder, and I took it apart, and one of the engineers, him and I looked over it and really tried to understand what wears in that encoder. What wears out. What are the root causes of the failure? What was the root cause of this particular failure? And so I do find myself doing that a lot. I do it. I wish I could do it more, but I've got a lot of operations and stuff to manage too.
Well, obviously you've got a passion for what you do, and that certainly comes out. It's amazing. I have some great folks that work for us. We don't have too many people around our environment that have engineering degrees. I have a lot of guys who probably should. They probably are definitely amateur engineers, but I absolutely love coming down when they're developing different repairs and repair processes, and I just keep watching, and then I come stick my nose in and make them explain it to me. Then when I go sit with my customer and I'm sitting in front of them and I'm explaining it, they're like, wow, you must be an engineer. And I go, nope. Just listen to the other guys and repeat what they say, and I sound really smart. But I love your passion. I love how you're just, engrossed with it. And I'm the same way. When I'm having a rough day, if we've got a tear down going on down on the ramp, I might go down to the airplane at the end of the day and grab a couple wrenches, and I know I can do righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. I'm not supposed to use the tools. They banned me from that many years ago, but occasionally I sneak in and get a little something done, so I don't tell anybody. It's a tear down. I'm not going to hurt anything. I might hurt myself, but that's a different problem. So I have the same kind of passion. So it sounds like the future is maybe a little bit more mechanical on your side, which is great. Are you guys going to be expanding facilities and people, or is that going to stick within the footprint you have and just grow maybe more robust?
Well, right now we're trying to optimize our processes, automate it as much as possible, send out automated status reports to all of our clients. A lot of time is taken up just answering emails about status, and we're looking at automating that completely. So all our customers get reports on demand. And so if they want to have a status update outside of those automated statuses, they can send an email with the correct subject to service. So to answer your question, we're not really looking at expanding staff right now until we have completely optimized our processes as much as possible, such that there is what I like to call like fluff time, you know, the time it takes for a technician to walk in, sit down, open up the CMM, get caught up with what he left off yesterday, trying to automate that completely or as much as possible. And so right now we're looking into efficiency in our processes. Once we're comfortable and feel like we've optimized it and automated it as much as we can, then we're going to look into growing the staff.
Nice. We've been growing quite quickly, and my approach was I wanted to support all of my managers and leaders with all the human capital they needed. And then we'll come back behind that once they feel like they've got the right team, and they all have processes, right, that keep evolving as we continue to grow. And I remember sitting with the whole team saying, hey, in the second half of this year, we're going to be driving efficiency with your teams. So then we're going to say, how do we tighten up and get, if somebody's at 80% productivity rate on a particular task, whatever, a repair coordinator, how do we get them to increase that capacity? Or if they're perfect and they're only working 80%, let's find something else to fill the other 20%. My hope is if you do it with the salesperson, they'll sell more stuff. Then we'll need to repair more stuff. We'll need to ship more stuff. We'll need to receive more stuff, take more stuff off airplanes. So there's a gap. Build your team big enough to handle the more, and then let's get as efficient as we can in that process. And it's worked well for our growth to kind of get there. We find that on the parts company, we trade everybody in-house uniquely. We have our own protocols, our own stuff. So we kind of need a can-do attitude when you show up, and we'll turn you into a Jet Midwest, stellar star if that's what you want. And so that's been a great journey for us. And then we start throwing stuff into that capacity and just keep driving projects, new projects. And what's crazy is the more we do it, the more projects show up. Oh, geez, I got to grow more people. And at some point we got to go, okay, let's get efficient with this. Because I think there is some loss just because of how fast we've been moving. Well, listen, what's your favorite aircraft? Everybody gets asked this question. I'd be curious what your answer is.
It's got to be the B-2 stealth bomber. It's just wings. It's got I believe, an 160-foot wingspan, and it's got no tail. So it looks like a manta ray in the sky. It flies at about 50,000 feet and goes at 630 miles an hour. It's a Northrop plane that was first used in Kosovo, and it just looks really cool. When I worked there were posters of it everywhere, and I really like the B-2 stealth bomber.
That's pretty cool.
That's my plane.
I remember driving in the highway from Kansas City to St. Louis to visit a client, and I'm watching one, and he's turning. I don't know, fly around, I guess. Wasn't bombing anything in Missouri, I don't think. So he's turning like this, and as he finishes his turn, and now he's coming right at me, when I see it perfectly at me, you can't see it.
Yeah.
It disappeared. And it took me a while, and I'm like, did I lose it? I'm driving, so I'm kind of paying attention. I'm losing it, and then all of a sudden it finished and keeps circling, and then it's opening up the other way. And then the same thing happened when it turned and went away. I couldn't see it at all. It just disappeared. That was a pretty cool experience. So I think that's a pretty awesome choice.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that maybe you'd want the listeners to hear, or maybe some perspective on the industry that maybe would enlighten anybody that we haven't talked about yet?
I think I mentioned it before, the fact that a lot of repairs can be saved by looking into the components of the subcomponent. There are a lot of subcomponents that have their own manuals. I got a kick out of developing the virtual test bench for a 285T0022-51. It's an audio control panel. It looks like any other, but it's a electronic beast inside. Inside of it, it's got components that have their own CMMs that are huge. What I want to get across is that at a lot of times things can be saved and repaired where you might think that they can't, just by breaking it down to the smallest component and finding the root cause there, and that's what our expertise allows us to do at Fortech with what we're most known for is avionics, electromechanical repairs. Yeah.
That's very cool. Very cool. The can do. I can fix this.
Yeah.
I will find a way. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Nose to Tail podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe. Manny, thank you for joining us. I'm sure everybody's going to get a lot of education out of this and look forward to the future of Fortech.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to our podcast, Nose to Tail. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Presented by Jet Midwest.